All right. Welcome to the 5x5 podcast. Today we're doing something a little bit different and doing an interview kind of style pod for today. We're here with Coach John, KT Training. It's just me and Shane for today. We will be having our other podcast a little bit later tonight.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get this interview out here because we do have a guest. John, how you been, man? How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Really happy that you guys will have me on.
Of course, man.
I'm really
Yeah, of course.
appreciative of the platform, honestly. So it means a
Yeah,
lot to
man.
me.
Oh,
I got
definitely.
you, man.
So you know what? Let's start it out, bro. Like, just tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah. So yeah, my name is John, but my full name is actually Jonathan Cataline Galamulume. So you could tell why I went with the KT.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
We're putting in an email. We're like, how do you spell it?
Yeah, there's a thing. It started way back in grade 3 or grade 4. It's been John
Mm,
KT since. But yeah, honestly, basketball training's been a passion of mine for a long time. I started playing ball like grade 6 or grade 7. The dream was NBA, and as any hooper that really takes ball serious, but obviously that hasn't worked out. So yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of just like basketball and understanding how it works. I see that the best players in the game are usually the smartest as well.
Mhm.
And for me, that's something that I really take serious. So if I couldn't be in the league, how can I maximize my ability, you know, to be able to understand and also teach others? So I was given opportunities to teach and coach multiple teams, and I think from that, my passion just kind of grew.
Mhm.
And honestly, everything else has just been, I just pursued it, and then next thing you know, it's kind of grown, and I'm really thankful and to see where it's gonna go.
Yeah. So something I wanted to ask you is, how did all of this start? Like, did you just wake up one day? It's like, yeah, you know what? Let me, because we hoop, right?
Yeah.
And so how do you just go from, okay, I'm gonna be a hooper, to, yeah, you know what? Let me start training other people.
It started in 2015.
Hmm.
Um, so I've always hooped obviously, but like I've noticed that before I always hooped, I always wanted to warm up.
Yeah.
So we would have ball runs. I used to live in London, Ontario. So say ball runs is at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
I tell my close guys, hey, let's show up at 5 because I want to kill everybody. Everyone's gonna show up ready to play, but if we're warm, we're not losing.
Exactly.
So we show up at 5, we practice. So that became a thing. So now people started showing up at 5, and I would have certain drills set up. So now everyone that's supposed to play at 6 is here at 5. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, let's push it now to 4. So ever since that kind of started it. But I never thought of it as basketball training. I just thought of it as let's be warm so we can kill everybody.
no,
And then
definitely.
that's kind of how it was.
So, okay, here's something I've always wondered, right? So, when you're bringing in new clients, do you look for something in them? Are you looking for certain requirements, or are you just taking everybody, working on everybody?
I honestly, it's anybody.
Mm,
I think because anybody can be good,
yeah.
right? Like someone, I sucked. Like I couldn't shoot. Like that's my biggest thing when I started playing. You know what I mean? Like I had to learn how to dribble
Yeah.
and go to the rim because I was that guy. If I had the ball, it was like let him shoot. I was that guy.
Yeah.
But I met someone that was like, yo, like you're gonna have to learn how to shoot. And he spent time on me. Because of that, I never care where someone's skills at. It's all about how bad they want it.
Yeah.
And it's really rare for me to actually approach anyone to actually train them. Now I'm really thankful because guys will message me because of the word of mouth that they hear from others.
Yeah.
And also they see the Instagram, then they'll hit me up. And then depending on what they want to do, we focus on that. But that's kind of how my mentality's been. If someone's trusted me where I was a trash player, I am in no position to ever look at a player and say this guy can't make it.
All right.
Definitely.
So, when you do get new players, right? Let's
Yeah.
say there's someone brand new you never met, they hit you up, hey, can you train me? You guys work out a session.
hmm
How do you start evaluating where they are as a player?
I think it's important to see where they think they are at first.
Hmm.
What I like to do first and foremost is ask them like, do you have video? If I've never seen them, if you have videos of yourself playing, please send it to me. What do you think is your biggest strength and your biggest weakness? Because when they tell me it kind and I ask them like, what do you want to focus on, and the workout is based upon that. So the player essentially has the say. My job is to just make sure that whatever it is we worked on is incorporated.
Yeah,
So during the session, I'm able to now see, right? Because if they weren't honest, it's gonna be shown, right?
exactly,
Like if you know what
exactly.
I mean, it's just a matter of time. So you might as well be honest from the front,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Right? And then from that point on, I asked them like, how did you think? How did you think you did? Did you think that it's something that you're gonna see working down the line, right? So on and so forth. So, but every player is different. But that's essentially how I am able to assess how they're doing.
So when you have a group of guys, right? Can you break down how a typical training session would go? Obviously, I know they're not all the exact same. You know, you cater
Yeah,
it to different players. But on a
yeah.
typical, let's say, a typical Sunday morning, you have a group. How would your training schedule look like?
I try to make it very. Everyone has to walk away. My thing is, you walk away from this training knowing that you got better,
Yeah.
whether you're a big man or a guard.
Okay.
I think a big man and a guard can work out together, but it's better for them to. So you're a big man, you work on your skill, you get your skills down. Your guard, you get your skills down. Let's
Yeah.
bring it together.
Yeah.
But for example, yesterday was in a situation where I had 5 different guys that play different positions. One thing that's going to be important now in today's game is this: you're gonna learn how to shoot. Right?
Exactly.
If
Yeah.
you can't shoot, you're not a very useful player unless
Yeah.
you're an amazing defensive player. You gotta be you got there's something else you gotta offer that coach sees in you that he's willing to put the shooting to the side.
Exactly.
Because everyone has to learn how to shoot. There's gonna be a lot of shooting.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna be able to set up. We start with the form shooting, and we keep moving out, right? So what's your strength? Oh, I'm a good mid-range shooter. Proper. Let's work on your mid-range, but let's see how if we can extend it as well. Oh, I'm only a good three-point shooter, but I can't drive. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. What we're gonna do is we're gonna work on some ball handling. That's gonna incorporate some little combo moves. So just a basic pump fake, tween, drive, right into a floater,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And if you're 6 foot to 6'8" to 6'10", that's a skill that you should have anyway. But if you
Exactly.
don't have it, we're gonna work on it as a group. So for me, I never really care about size or skill. I think what matters is that what's important today is shooting, and because of the shooting, we can incorporate everything else around that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, like the way the game is nowadays, like if you can't shoot, you're not getting on the floor unless you're like a generational talent.
Unless
Yeah,
unless you're like literally bigger than everyone else, right?
yeah,
Especially
Yeah.
on a pickup run, right?
Like, I mean, think about it. Even in pickup, like Shane, you would know. We've had pickup runs where you're
yeah,
looking at a guy, you're like, honestly, man, I like this guy, but I'm trying to win. Like, I don't
yeah,
think this guy's gonna be able to hit
yeah,
twos. And we're playing to 11. You know, hitting 1, 2 goes a long way.
yeah.
If this
Yeah,
guy can hit
yeah.
twos, he might be your friend, but you're like, I'm gonna go with that guy.
See, I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
definitely.
Some of the days I'm that guy. I'm that dude. People like, yeah. Hey man, listen. Next one. You,
Don't
you got
don't don't
next.
expose yourself.
You got next. It happens.
Funny enough, he's had his days. I know Shane.
Bro,
We've
don't get
had
me
runs.
wrong.
He's had
Yeah,
his days where he doesn't miss, and that really pisses me off because I'm like, I just watched you miss three that previous game, but now you're playing
yeah,
against me. You want to hit three, you know?
yeah,
Hey
So
yeah.
man, hey man. You know what? I gotta get in the lab with you one time, man. We gotta get a training session going for sure,
absolutely, man.
for
More than
sure, for
welcome.
sure. So, where do you usually base your training locations out of? Like, are you in Durham? Do you travel outside of Durham? Where's your
Um,
home court to say?
I don't have a home court, to be
Mm,
honest. I'm free. I want to be able to be available for everyone anywhere.
yeah,
So I mean, mostly Durham based, of course.
yeah, of course.
Um, I don't always have the vehicle when I need it, so that makes
Yeah,
it a bit tough for me. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
having a consistent form of transportation would allow me to also venture off to the GTA.
Mm-hmm.
But I've noticed that it's been a blessing in disguise because I've been able to build a solid base. I'm building a solid base in Durham. I know guys, and they're getting to know. So it's in a way it's been good for me. So when I do get to venture off, I've got like a home base.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've been in Durham for 3 years now. And
Hmm.
before that it was London. So if I had to consider my home base, it'd actually be London,
Oh,
Ontario, because
London. Yeah.
that's where it all started.
London.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So also with the age group, so like with your kind of students, let's say, like how
Mhm.
old are they usually when they come to you and everything?
Right now, it's actually mostly university and college guys. Um,
Yeah. Oh.
when I first started, it was mostly high school, but those guys now are in university and college. See,
Mhm.
Hmm.
so I think the average age is probably 19 to 20 years old. Um,
Yeah.
like I have two brothers that are, I have a brother in grade 9 and a brother in grade 8 that are hoopers. So they have their guys because I was assistant coach of their team.
Mhm.
So for the most part, it's all over the place. Which is good because the younger guys, you can kind of build them, right? They're just starting, they're fresh. You can rearrange their form a little bit.
Yeah.
But someone that's been hooping for some time, that's 18, 19, he's trying to refine his skill, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to see, should I still pursue basketball? Do I have a possibility of going overseas, or should I quit?
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
whereas a 12-year-old, he's like, man, I just want to go to the league, make me as good
Exactly.
as possible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'd
Now,
adjust based on mentality.
definitely. Now, coach. So there's I think there's like two different types of coaches. There's
Hmm.
like, I mean, like watching on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, and there's coaches that kind of just coach in the gym, and then there's coaches that kind of coach a lifestyle accompanied with basketball. And like, do you kind of tell your students or anyone that we can't just train basketball all the time, and that maybe it has to be also a mental thing. You have to eat healthy as well, right? Do you remind your students those things?
Absolutely, yeah. The guys that I train the most of them have they also have how do I say, like a food plan.
Okay.
Because yeah, we can play basketball all day long, but like if you're not eating right, you're
Mhm.
not going to be efficient on the court. And if you're not sleeping, you're not exactly able to maximize to the best of your abilities. I think mental health, spiritual fitness, I call it spiritual fitness and mental fitness, is just as crucial. Um,
Hmm.
you know, for a couple, as you guys know, a couple of years ago, Damar and Kevin Love brought up the issue of mental health,
Yeah.
and me, especially coming being an African in my community, mental health is almost like taboo. You don't talk about mental health. Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah, you know what I mean? So, but I find that to be extremely important because you don't know what guys go through. And I've learned that many guys that have showed up, they're nice, but then you don't in their homes, they're very depressed. They're a different person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how can we balance that out so that, you know what, man, you're good when you're with me, but even back home, you're okay. How can I help? Right? You don't sleep enough, you don't eat enough because you don't know what to eat. Not that you can't
Hmm.
afford it, you just don't know what to eat. So how about you get like a basic of this is what is best for you? Let's look at the Canadian Nutritional Food Guide.
Yeah.
Let's incorporate more of that because the better you'll eat, the better you'll perform in the school. You perform good in the school, you might put yourself in a position to get possibly open up your opportunities to go to bigger schools. You want to play basketball after all, right? But that goes in the classroom too. So
Mhm.
I think reminding them that everything that you do in a classroom will affect how far you go. I
Exactly.
mean, and unless you're just extremely crazy, but I don't see too many Andrew Wiggins walking around. So
Yeah.
you're gonna
Yeah.
have you're gonna have to do pretty well in
Yeah.
the classroom because if you get hurt, you got something else to fall back on as well.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
I definitely I never just stick to basketball because even me with this whole training thing, it's nice, but I'm in school right now. I'm trying to get my degree. And, I got my computer background history, and I got the job that I have too. So it's like it just opens up many more opportunities, right? So
Mhm.
basketball is
Yeah.
more of a leeway than anything.
That's
Exactly.
good, bro.
Yeah.
And like just to go further on just like your coaching attitude and
Hmm.
everything, just like thinking about like just thinking about like coaches on YouTube, like are
Hmm.
you would you say you're like kind of like that J Law type coach, or like more that that Dev in the lab type, like
Oh
really
yeah.
tough love, where he's like where you're like swearing at your students and telling them like, yo, you should have shot that, like why are you doing
Yeah.
this and all that, like what, like how do you approach the situation when you're doing with your students and everything, man?
I think it depends because I mean I watch those guys too, but
Yeah, yeah.
I try to do like just my own thing. I'm generally speaking, I find that those guys got to where they get to, and they can talk that like that because it reaches their players.
Yeah.
I know some guys where like even me, I'm the type where yelling doesn't do the job, right? You can communicate like this and I'll understand you just as well. But if you speak a certain way, you may actually do damage where I don't want to listen to you,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
and also being a Christian myself, I like to speak in a way that's presentable of who I'm representing. So I'm representing Christ.
Yeah.
So how I come across ultimately affects how people will view my faith.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like the view in which I like to go from.
That's good, bro. That's really good.
So, if you could just speak on, actually, is your audio okay? It just
Yeah,
went.
I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay, everyone's good.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you could just speak on maybe how do you incorporate your faith and being able to put basketball, and how do you feel that you intertwine them?
I find it really easy. Because I mean, the thing is, everything I do is for the glory of God.
Yeah.
Therefore, I ought to give my best, right? So that means in a classroom, which I often don't, which is bad. But you know what I mean? If
I feel that one.
yeah, I don't, let's be real.
Yeah.
But it's like once you understand, I think that my life changed once I understood my purpose.
Yeah.
Because I hated basketball at some point because I felt like I was wasn't given the opportunities as some people around me. I'm like, man, this guy, man, his parents are paying 2K so he can play rep, and he's not even serious. If my parents pay 2K, bro, like I would never be in Canada. I would just, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but I couldn't think like that. I gotta appreciate what I have, right? And maybe that wasn't my calling, but what abilities do I have? I can communicate well. I do love basketball. If I keep working, I can be pretty decent. And I can communicate in a way where my experience can affect my little brothers
Yeah.
and those around me. So, you know what? I'm not going to be looking at others and say, I could be better than this guy. No, 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 no. That doesn't glorify God. What
Yeah.
glorifies God is to be able to maximize what I do have and what I can control.
Exactly.
So for me, it's been quite easy. They go hand in hand. Sometimes I don't even think about it, but I also know that without that mentality and without my faith, I'm not here,
Hmm.
meaning that I wouldn't have the attitude that I have. I wouldn't have the work ethic that I have. So I found it pretty easy. It's who I am. It's not like something I put on or put off. Like
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, I'm the same way on the ball court, in the classroom. I talk the same way. I walk the same way. I don't change up on
Yeah.
nobody. So it's the way that I am.
That's good, bro. That's good,
Mhm.
coach. That's really
That's
good.
the one good thing because like there's a lot of dudes who you see they come on the court, they got all this attitude, they're talking all this, they come off the court, they're completely different. They're so quiet, and then it's vice versa too. Guys who
Mhm.
talk
Yeah.
the most off the court come on the court, just be
Oh,
walking hiding.
that's the worst though. That's the worst one. Could
Yep,
you imagine, man?
yep,
Oh my god.
Kill those guys, man. Kill
Yeah,
them.
man.
that's the worst one. Talking all this talk and then you're on the oh my goodness.
I think they realize
Um.
that reality finally hits, and they can't back
Exactly.
Oh
down,
yeah.
and then they
Oh
just
yeah.
stay quiet. Those are the guys you go after those guys. You
Yep,
go after them.
yep.
ISO, run it, run it.
Exactly. Call the clear
Um.
out, and get the play going.
And going back to your students, coach. So one day, we were talking how like a lot of them just come to you and everything, and you kind of like break down what they know, what they don't know, what they're really good at, what they're not. And is there a specific thing that you find in most of your students where they're missing that particular thing that a lot of your other students are too, right? Because I think a lot of the people now they're probably amazing dribblers, but they're not. How can I say this? They're not dribbling with a purpose, right? Because
Absolutely.
a lot of people now are kind of just like sham god, tween, tezzy, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But can't really put that, in a game or so. What do you think on what your students are mostly missing?
This will kind of go talks on how do I say this? This is kind of related to what we see in the NBA. Is so I know a couple guys that are trying out in the G League
Hmm.
Yeah,
and that are in the G League and those that are trying to be in the G League. So three phases, right? The biggest thing I'm seeing is that even when we watch an NBA game, let me use an example that a guy that we all know, Danny Green, right? We just watched the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times Danny Green dribbles in a game, but I would guess it's less than 5 times,
Yeah.
right? He's not a
Yeah,
Clay
yeah.
Thompson where he can dribble less than five and still give you 30. But Danny Green, I don't even think maybe people know Danny Green can dribble.
Mm.
But if you see Danny Green in a pickup run, he was in a pickup run with Chris Brickley, where he was actually like, there's a mini like 45-second highlight. He's handling, right? Like wide crossover, bringing it back. And guys in the comments were all shocked.
Yeah.
I never seen him do
Mhm.
that. I'm like, but that's a guy that understands his role, right?
Exactly.
Now, a lot of the guys, especially the teens, right? You'll see them even in some of the drills we're doing, like killing, just killing. And even when we're running pickup, and I'm like, but how come I've never seen you do that in any of your games? Oh, coach won't allow me. No, no, no. It's not that coach won't allow you. It's that you're wasting your dribble, right? And sometimes the joke around with me, like, oh man, you never dribble the ball. All you do is shoot her, and you can't even handle like that. I'm like, no, no, no. I can handle like that, but I understand why I'm doing it. Like, if
Yeah.
I can go by you with two dribbles, why am I playing around? Why am I wasting possession? If you're giving me space, what's the point of me putting the ball down? I'm just gonna
Exactly.
shoot it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
having the maturity of understanding that handle can be used when needed. Say you're pressured, you got to come out of a corner. But other than that, if you're quick, especially, you put that ball down one time, you're gone. But what they want to do is put it down one time, snatch, make sure the camera's
Yeah,
on, snatch,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know, and then you miss the shot anyway, but you're like, oh,
Mhm.
you're
Mhm.
lucky. No, 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 no. You're not smart. That's what's going on. You don't have
Yeah,
the
man.
IQ, right? So I use Danny Green as an example because he's a guy that can dribble, I'm pretty sure, just as well as anybody. But because he's in a role, he understands his role. Catch, shoot, play defense, right? One guys get that at a younger age. And then when you're responsible, then you're given more bigger responsibility. Then you can be a James Harden.
Mhm.
But before you become a James Harden, you must be trusted to do that, right? Everyone
Exactly.
Yeah.
wants to be James Harden and Kyrie, but
And
they
Exactly.
can't dribble like that yet.
and you can't have a whole team of James Hardens and Kyries, right? Because then it'd just be a bunch of ISO ball.
And here's the thing,
Exactly.
even James Harden started somewhere. Like he was never always
Yeah,
the number one
that
option,
is very
right?
correct.
He was actually coming
Yeah.
off
That
the
is very
bench,
correct.
catch and shoot for a little bit, had his little step
Yeah.
back one time,
I
I
wouldn't even be surprised if these guys don't even know James Harden playing on the Thunder.
yeah,
I wouldn't be
honestly,
surprised.
honestly,
He was a six man. They
honestly.
probably think his career started in Houston.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's a tough one. Don't make me.
Oh, man.
I felt old.
Ah,
Yeah,
so
no, that's like when we were talking about how like Melo. A lot of people thought Melo started on like the Knicks or something, or they thought Melo like
blasphemy.
automatically, or he just started shooting threes. Like he was always like that, bro. And
No.
and
Absolute blasphemy.
and that's the thing too, right? And definitely, coach, you probably see this like the players they have to always evolve, right? In order to
Yeah.
maintain um their dominance or even their skill, they always have to evolve. If that's correct, if you see it in your students, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Even me, I had to evolve, right? Because once I was at the college level, I understood that, man, everything that I do, there's someone out there that does it better than me, and I saw that live. So it's like, what can I do to be different? Right? Because
Mhm.
we're all playing the same game. We all have one ball. You gotta depend on someone sometimes to pass it to you. Coach has gotta trust you enough. So it I mean, you've gotta be serious about putting the time in to maximize that skill. Like I may not be the tallest or the most athletic, but I know I can outwork you because I've put the time in and I've put my body and my mental strength through the test.
Yeah,
You may have done the same thing, but I can push harder. So you and I can do the same thing, but you can only do it for so long until you burn out because I know you didn't dedicate the same time as I did, right?
exactly.
So that is a way in which you can evolve is because you and someone else may be able to do the same thing. He does it better because he's put the time in, and then based on that, the opportunities, the coach that you're at, the scouts that happens to be there, you playing the good game at the right time, at the right
Mhm.
tournament, a little bit of luck too matters. But I think what you can do, as what I tell guys, is control what you can control. Get your
Mm-hmm.
sleep in, eat when you can, and whenever you have the time, you have 45 minutes in between classes, it's 8 degrees outside, go shoot.
Yeah,
Put two sweaters on like I do, wear your
Yeah,
joggers, have your basketball, go shoot. Because that
yeah,
other guy that's got the same skill as you, he's probably not doing that.
yeah,
Get as much advantage as you can. You're playing pickup run, guys are checking guys to tie a shoe, get the ball and shoot it. I did it all the time. Pisses guys off. We're in the middle of a game. We have to stop because someone has to tie his shoelace. Happened last night. I took the ball and I went to go take a couple jumpers just to make sure I was in rhythm because I know
Exactly.
the guy I was guarding can shoot.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I get as much advantage as possible. And next thing you know, I hit the next couple of shots.
Yeah, man.
Little things like that. It might be looked
Yeah,
as cheating, but you got to
yeah,
do
bro.
what you can to stay ahead.
Exactly. Any little
Yeah,
edge, any little edge. Take what you could
Any,
get. Take what you could
any.
get.
Hmm.
So, in terms of like, obviously, the whole situation everyone's going through right now with the quarantine, it's been kind of harder to, to actually to go to gyms inside. How would you say you've been able to adapt to our whole like global pandemic right now?
It's been challenging to be honest.
Hmm.
Um, but so one thing that I've done is, I mean, I play outside anyway,
Yeah.
for the most part. But say eventually it's gonna snow, right? And
Yeah.
if I don't have access to a gym, the garage will be my best friend.
Yeah.
That's where I'll be working. Another thing I like to do as well, I tell guys, is if you have a basketball, to shoot it right in the air. Like for example, I have a ball not too far from me here, right? So this little drill, you have the ball up here, and literally tossing this thing up
Yeah.
1,000 times a day will help. Like it may not seem like much,
Yeah.
but if you do this 1,000 times a day, there's 7 days a week. You just put up 7,000 shots.
Yeah.
You don't know if they went in or not, but let's assume they all went in.
yeah, no, definitely. And could you imagine? It's just like you haven't touched the ball in the past like 3 days, while this other dude's been at least in his room just doing this. At
I'm
least
telling
next
you.
time he gets the ball in the game when you guys all play, it's
He's
nothing,
ready.
right? The
Yeah,
ball feels similar, whatever and whatnot. He's ready to
yeah.
shoot.
Guys coming out all surprised. Oh, oh, I wasn't in the gym. Well, neither was I. But how did you spend your quarantine?
Yeah.
We all going through the same thing. I mean, unless if you got special access, very few guys have access to a gym. I'm
Mm.
trying to get one myself, but like, if I don't have access, I'm thinking of those guys that do have access, and I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm letting them go that far ahead.
Exactly.
So
Mhm.
I got to do anything I can, and then because when we all go back to the gym, we gonna hear it. I haven't touched the basketball in this. I haven't touched
Oh,
my
I'm
basketball.
ready for it.
Yeah,
I'm ready for it.
And I'm saying
yeah, man.
that's your problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
your problem.
Yeah, man. And
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
just talking about that work ethic and that mentality, bro. Like, what I just want to know, like, what have you done to kind of like be ahead of everyone else? Because like just thinking about it too, man. Like if I want to get some ball runs in, bro, I'm going to like community center.
Hmm.
I'm sneaking in like at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
No one's gonna talk to me. Like of course I'm
No.
gonna be there for basketball. I don't even have
Hmm.
a membership or whatever, but like that's like I went there because I want to play,
Hmm.
right? And that's what it is. And like what do you do to kind of like get into that state of mind? Like
Yeah.
what do you do to like similar to what I did? Like I feel like you take it to another level. That's why.
Honestly, it is stuff like that. It is a little. I'm gonna do the most until like I really can't afford to get in trouble.
Hmm.
If that means I'm gonna sneak into a gym, so be it. Because by the time I get caught, I got caught like 15 minutes later, and that's 15 minutes of worth. It was worth it.
yeah.
I don't even care. Like honestly, any little advantage I can get, because my mentality's been this. Like I watch these guys, man, like professional players, man. They're almost crazy. One of my favorite guys to listen to is Gilbert Arenas.
Oh, love it.
Man,
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
he's crazy. He's not right.
Zero
But
chill.
but the thing is like, if you analyze what he thinks about it, it's like, man, it makes so much sense. Like he is so smart because every little thing he possibly could use that would help him be ahead of the competition, he would do it.
Hmm.
And I look at that, I'm like, okay, I want to be like that. You know, I know
Mhm.
I know guys are like struggling with gym time. I know guys, they can only do work quarantine workouts for so long. After 2 weeks, they get bored. I know it, right? Because it's boring. You're in your basement. You'll go on your phone. You go on Instagram, and you'll slack off. I'm like, if I can just stay strong and keep it up for much longer,
Hmm.
I'll be in better shape than they are. I know no one's running
Yeah.
outside. It's at 5 degrees, man. Nobody's running. They're gonna run on a treadmill. Running on a treadmill is not the same as running out in your block.
Yep.
I'm gonna run outside, because then when we play ball runs, my lungs capacity will be much bigger than theirs, and I can outlast them.
Exactly.
Little
Exactly.
Yeah.
things like that. is what I've used, and then I bring my brothers with me because I want them to be the best of the best.
Mm,
So they're with
Yeah,
me
man.
almost on anything that I'm doing. So they're not very well known, and that's perfect. I really like that because I kind of want them to have that out of nowhere mentality where if in due time I'll sign them up in the right teams, and it's gonna be like, where did these guys come from? But it's like they've been working on the low,
yeah.
right? There's no videos of them out there. There's nothing out there, but it won't be an accident for us because we know what we've been doing.
Yeah.
But everybody else they'll be up for a shock.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, man. No, that's good. And you're right, man. Like just talking about that running outside with the sweaters and all that. It's kind of like that different type of condition. Once you get
Mhm.
into the gym, bro, it's that you're gonna
Yeah,
kill them, right? And
absolutely.
that's the craziest thing, man. Because I remember watching a YouTube video on how like this one trainer was helping Kobe, and when they were in Vegas, Kobe was telling him, man, like I want to go for a bike ride, and they said, "Oh, when you want to go, like in the morning or dusk, because like that's like the perfect weather." He's like, "No, I want to go in the middle of the day.
Hmm.
I want to go in the middle of the day with the heat as dry as hell and all that stuff, bro." And they wanted to match that crazy atmosphere. So when he's on the court or when he's inside, it's easy, right?
Absolutely.
And honestly, it was only him and his trainer and some of the other basketball guys that wanted to kind of go with him. And he said, "Nah, you're gonna die out there, man, like this." And that's some next like killer like the Mamba mentality and everything, bro. It's nuts.
Just to add on that, just because of the stuff I hear about Denver and Utah, I hope
Hmm.
one day I have the money to be able to go there for like I don't know how often yet, just to train.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
because of the altitude levels, I hear that it's so much harder. And I'm
yeah,
like, man, think of everyone that's actually playing. There's that's so unfair.
yeah,
They by
man.
the time they play on normal altitude like the rest of us, they're good.
Yep.
So I want to be able to just train there and then
Hmm.
come back here. I want to
Yeah,
see
man.
what
And
that difference is like.
it's nuts too because we learned about it in school, and it takes
Hmm.
about I think approximately 3 to 4 weeks for your body to kind of get used to it.
No
And then
way,
after that, man, so you just feel different. I think you just feel different.
So
man.
what's
I
the
gotta
actual like
experience
That's
that.
why
juice?
Jokic was able to get away with being like 260,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because I never because I remember like I'm a Raptor fan and I never understood. So I'm like these guys are all NBA players.
Oh, sorry,
I
sorry.
remember.
I'm like legging out, bro.
Oh, sorry. You okay?
Someone's
You
using his
Yeah, no,
microwave
I'm good.
downstairs.
I'm like, yeah,
good?
yeah, bro. Go ahead, continue. Sorry, bro.
No, you're good. You're good. Like I'm like these guys are all NBA players. I remember at one point we couldn't beat the Nuggets for like 2 3 years in a row. Every time we're in Denver, we get slapped.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't know about the whole altitude situation. I heard about it, but I didn't take it serious. And then I'm like, oh, so these NBA players can last longer than those NBA players, even though they're all elites because they're 1,000 miles above. Bro, I gotta train there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I found out about it. I'm like, man, I want to know what it's like to be in that level.
Well, it's just like kind of like in the fighting movies and everything. Why do you think they're climbing mountains and climbing stairs and going
Hmm.
higher, bro?
Yep.
It's not for the cinematic purpose, bro. It will actually help
Yeah.
you out. And that's why they call them the Mile High City, bro.
Yeah.
I gotta
Um,
be there, man.
It's
yeah, no,
crazy how there's only like
it's
one small thing that can make a huge difference. Like
oh
any
yeah,
regular person hears that, it's like, it's whatever, right?
Hmm.
yeah,
Like you
no,
wouldn't think
definitely.
like, oh yeah, being up higher will make you better, like have make your lungs better. But then when you actually start doing it, when you actually see it, because I know exactly what games you're talking about, John. I remember those
Hmm.
games. The Nuggets used to run us out the gym, and it's just like, I know we're the better team. We have the better players.
Hmm.
What's going on?
Yeah,
You
Get
know what I mean?
slapped.
yeah.
Losing
And
the
could you
third
imagine
quarter,
that
we're
too?
down
That's
by
like
30. I'm
Oh man.
jeez,
And
bro.
and you know what's tough, man? It's just like they probably came from a back to back, and they had to take the bus from LA or something, and they had to go all the way to Denver.
Bro,
Just
I
imagine.
remember Ty Lawson was killing us, man.
Oh, I hate that
The
name, man.
manimal. I'm like, who
Oh
the
my
hell are these guys?
god.
Nah, but you know what, man? Like you said, those little things go a long way, man. That's
Yeah.
like, bro, if you can have that small advantage, because like remember, these are both NBA teams,
Yeah.
right? Like going on a back to back, being just that little difference makes you, I'm gonna beat this team by 30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
man,
it's like, you know
definitely.
what? If that's all it takes, I wish guys realize that it's like not that you have to necessarily work harder because you got to be smart too, right? Like
Yeah.
I know guys are in the gym for 7 hours. They really worked hard for 30, and they were doing ball runs for 2 hours, and
Yeah.
all they've had to
Yeah.
eat is cereal and like and corn dog,
Yeah.
and then they say and then they
That
hashtag
pogo.
yeah
Oh
hard
man.
work,
Yeah.
be different in the lab. No, you were not in the lab. You were hanging out,
Yeah.
right? But it's like if you were able to like manage your time better and you ate the right way and that advantage that you will kill like, and if you
Mm.
started at a younger age you're just going to be so much better than everyone
Hmm.
else. That's why even though you have NBA level talent, there's LeBron, there's KD, there's Steph, but they're
Exactly.
all in the NBA. What makes those guys like Steph is so small. Steph is
Yeah.
not that much bigger than us,
Yeah. I
but
think Steph's like my build, almost exactly maybe like 2 inches taller. It's kind of crazy.
that's that's the thing. But his skill is otherworldly, right? Kemba Walker is smaller than you,
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But Kemba is, what I mean? It's like these guys, they make sometimes it's like they're like aliens, but you got to remember they're red-blooded human beings that took the time to perfect their craft. And
Yeah.
people were around them, obviously, they had the right coaching, but it's like they started doing this and understanding of a younger age. It's a mentality that the US have that we don't have here, is that I'm gonna make this, period. Whereas in Canada, it's like basketball's nice. I work
Yeah.
hard
Yeah,
here
and
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 there.
and you know what? That isn't. There's always like I feel like there's a double side, like a double-edged sword with that, right? Because I know a lot of those U.S. like those like like the candidates and like the class of like whatever here, and they're just kids, right? But they go balls to the wall, right?
Oh
They
yeah,
it's basketball or nothing, right? And that show that is insane. Of course, it's scary to have no backups or no nothing, right? But if
it
you
is. Yeah,
if you're decently built like 6'3" and you're just going into grade 9, going into grade 10 with a lot of room to grow and you're like the top 10 in your state, why not, right? Why not?
absolutely.
And it's because especially they love the game. They don't make the NBA, like fuck it, they'll play in the Euro League, right? They'll play anywhere else because what they want to do at the end of the day is get paid to play the sport that they
Play
love, right?
basketball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And there are more
yeah,
opportunities today basketball wise, like there's
definitely.
NBA. I mean, don't get me wrong, not everyone's gonna make it to the NBA. The chance of you making NBA are slim. But
Mhm.
people forget that you don't have to be in NBA as a player. Like I have a dream of being in NBA too, but not as a player,
Hmm.
right? There are so many
Yeah.
jobs that are not talked about, right? People think that it's NBA, I'm gonna be like LeBron and that's it. No, bro, you can work to be a coach. You can work to be a skills trainer. You can rub some elbows with executives to be a scout. There are thousands upon thousands of jobs. All guys have to look at the MLSC. I mean, don't get me wrong, definitely get a backup. But and
Yeah.
just to encourage,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not
like
saying like yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't get it twisted. Let's be real here. I'm not saying everybody's out here is gonna apply and get the job,
Yeah.
but
yeah, of
the
course.
rule is like, put yourself in the highest position possible. That, like you said, if you may not get there, but you're gonna have better opportunities, right? You reach for as high as you can make it. If you don't got NBA, you got EuroLeague. You can go down. Like there's so many options, and if you're not even a player, you can still be around players doing something different,
Hmm.
and people
Exactly.
don't realize that. And that's something that I always remind guys. It's like you work, but the only way you get to that way is through the schooling too, right? So schooling is also going to assist you. You can't be getting 50s at Durham College and think that you're going to be the next skills trainer and be like Jordan Lawley. I'm sorry, that's
Well,
not that's
well,
not
it's
real.
funny too, like talking about the skills trainers and everything, right? Like, and those guys could honestly, man, a lot of them look like out of shape, right? They don't look like basketball players at all. And
Hmm.
that's not to take anything away from them. Like they're probably amazing, and that just goes to show it, right? Right, this guy's gonna be like 5'7", and then he's kind of like a little bit chunkier and everything. And but this guy is telling Steph Curry how to shoot, or he's telling LeBron James this is how you're gonna do the post up, right? And
Mhm.
it's also probably not a lot. They have the skill from a physical basketball like point of view too, but like those trainers as well, they're watching the players film, right? This is what you're not doing. This is what you should do instead, right?
Yeah.
And that just goes to show, like you said, like they're just they love the game, and then if they're watching it, man, then it's easy for them. right?
Yeah, look at NBA coaches. They a lot of NBA coaches look like, like they just sit on the couch all day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the thing is, it's IQ, right?
Mm.
Like I forget the guy's name. One of Steph Curry's trainer. I'm pretty sure this guy's overweight. Not to hate on anybody that's overweight. Shout out to you. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, but there's something about him that he does that Steph Curry trusts. He's got
yeah,
some cachet, and
Mm.
it's
yeah,
working, right? You know what I mean. So I've never that's why I never underestimate a person, never, because you don't know where that person is. You might underestimate someone, but there's a big star out there that trusts that person, and it will bring him somewhere. Look at Maverick
yeah,
Carter. Look at those guys that are top
Yeah.
agents in the NBA. Maverick Carter is obviously friends with LeBron, but he's an extremely intelligent person. He was put in a good
yeah,
position. He's taken the most of it. A lot of NBA trainers as well, same way. But it's like if you're intelligent, you watch film, IQ, and you're able to communicate that with the player in a way that he's never seen, and he trusts you. You could be 3 foot nothing. If it makes sense for the player and it works, that's
Exactly.
all
yeah,
that
You're
matters.
set.
yeah. Yeah, you're
So
on you're on the squad, right?
yeah, I've never. That's why for me, I used to. Oh, man, I don't know if I got, and I can't be stupid. I can't think like that. If I study the game and I understand, like I said, I will never be a LeBron James. I'll never be a Kevin Durant. But the thing is this: LeBron James and the Kevin Durant will not be able to be as athletic as they are when they're 50. But
Yeah.
one thing that they will always have is knowledge of the game, and that's something I can also have. If I can study, if I can have the IQ, I may not have the physical tools, but I'll always have this, which will take me places. Therefore, I shouldn't be able to underestimate myself, and no one has the right to underestimate me if the guys that I train trust me and we have results that show for it.
Hmm.
Once guys can understand that you can go anywhere in the world.
Yeah. I think a lot
And
of people don't really not put together, but they don't really realize is there's more to the game of basketball than just actually being on the floor.
Hmm.
What they don't realize is 95% mental and 5% physical, right? Even though the 5% physical is a lot, if you can't think the
physical.
game, you're not gonna be able to do it. Like, look at the best, not even the best players. Look at some of the best, like, point guards, for example, in the league right now.
Hmm.
Chris Paul, Rondo, LeBron. You can even throw Ben Simmons in there, right? They're always thinking not one step, they're thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead. They're thinking about, okay, 2 possessions from now, they're gonna run this play with this pin down. How are we gonna stop it? What's our defensive counter gonna be? Right?
Hmm.
If we throw this matchup, what's gonna happen? Okay, this coach is gonna call a timeout here. He's gonna call this play. He's gonna call this trick play, right? That's what a lot of the players that I noticed at least is that no one's really thinking ahead anymore,
No.
right? So is that something that you would say that you would like kind of preach to your players to try and like be more mindful of like just being more aware on the basketball court, just being able to think a little bit farther ahead?
Yeah, a lot of the drills that I come up with, well, I don't come up with them because we just copy each other. Honestly,
Exactly.
it's just a matter
Yeah.
of what works and the players you have. But whenever I have a drill, I have to have a reason as to why we're doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm never one of those guys. Hey guys, so we're gonna be doing this. I want you to come off the screen here and shoot it. None.
Yeah.
That's stupid. Why? Because a player's gonna ask me, okay, coach, but like why? And
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh well, because I see. No, I gotta be able to explain. You're someone that you like to attack the basket and you have a solid big man.
Yeah.
How do we maximize that? The NBA nowadays, there are plays. Don't get me wrong, but every team runs a high pick and roll,
Yeah.
and you want to consider yourself a point guard, and you don't know how to run a pick and roll. Are you kidding me? You will never play.
You're not a
So
point guard.
you're not a point guard. All you
Exactly.
are,
Yeah,
you're just someone that likes basketball. I'm sorry. Sit down. As a coach, I'm gonna pick someone that knows how to run a pick and roll because then you have to be able to read the defense.
Yeah.
For example, yesterday we're working on a patient dribble. For those that don't know when they'll be watching, a patient dribble is when I get a screen, I use the screen, and then I wait to see where the help is, what my big man is doing, and where my defender is. He's just got screen, so he's behind me. I'm holding him off. I'm dribbling to see what's gonna happen. That's all IQ. Regardless of how fast and quick you are, you've got to be able to think. Because I have like a million options.
Hmm.
I can attack. If I attack the basket, I'm leaving my big man there, and the help, I'm going right at him, which means it will force someone else to help, and I may have a pass to the corner. But if I wait long enough, my big man is rolling,
Yeah.
I may have a pass there. If I wait long enough, I have a hezzy, I have a jumper. If I don't like it, I can reset.
Yeah.
yeah,
All of that, none of that included crazy athleticism. it
Yeah.
included here because I was reading what the defense was offering me,
Yeah.
right? And then I take advantage of it based on my abilities, right? So that's what I do. I'll explain this is why we're doing it. Because if you find yourself in this situation, this is you could do all of this. I never say do this drill and do that. Because if we work on you doing that, what happens if the defense adjusts and you got trapped? Then what do? Because we never worked on it. Oh, you're gonna turn the ball over, you're gonna panic.
Exactly.
So I open up a bunch of opportunities because I got guys that they were getting iced. So the second they cross half court, there's two guys on him. So he's got to learn how to read defenses properly to get the ball rid of it, get the ball out of his hands, move, put himself in a different position. So if he has it again, it's either a catch and shoot because the longer he holds it, the more the defense is going to send the help.
Exactly.
So a guy like that's got to be able to recognize that through his mind, right? So I always want to make sure it's explained in a way that guys can understand. Because, like you said, all the athleticism in the world is nice, but it really is that 5%. Because you can have the athleticism in the world. How many guys flame out after a couple of years, right? And
Yep.
we see it every day, even on varsity teams. You see the guys in pickup killing, right? And then when it comes to actual games, he's sitting, he don't play,
Mm-hmm.
but he can give
Yeah.
you a windmill, though.
That's what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, man. And that's the thing too, right? It's if that player doesn't have really, anything to give, like actual like decent stuff to give to the team, right? Yeah, of course the guy can do a windmill, but can he come off screens really well off ball, right? Can he provide for his teammates? Can he provide spacing? Even spacing is like the
Basic.
most basic thing that you can give your team, right?
Absolutely.
But no, thank you, coach. We will actually go for our first break, and
Hmm.
then we'll come back and talk about a little bit, maybe some NBA talk, a little bit
Yeah,
of maybe coach's favorite players and whatnot, and his development and everything. And we'll be right back.
All right.
appreciate it.
The clock.
And we are back from break. So this little last half, what we're gonna do today, just gonna talk about John a little bit more. Probably keep asking him, pestering him, his favorite players, NBA, talk about maybe a little bit of bubble, and yeah, we're like I said, we're so happy to have him on today's podcast
Mm-hmm.
slash show. And let's get into it. What we want to talk about with John. Your logo is very, very interesting, man. I just want to know what's the story behind it? How did you
Mhm.
create it? Who helped you, whatever, and just tell us
Yeah.
about like how that process was, bro.
Yeah, thank you. The logo story, it it's something I've always wanted, but
Hmm.
it happened this past summer of 2020. So I wanted to, as I noticed that the training kept going and going up. I'm like, but I do a lot more than just basketball training, even though that's mostly what I'm known for and primarily is what I do, of course. But I really love fitness. I really love healthy eating. Um, but I because of that, I wouldn't want it to be just basketball. So a lot of people that I train with, we've also worked out multiple times. We have gym sessions. So I'm like, I wanted it to be something that kind of combines the two. So what I spoke to a couple of people. I heard about Ridge. The funny thing with Ridge is I've played basketball with him. I never would have guessed. Right? So that's why I, again, never neglect someone
Mm-hmm.
in life. Like you don't know who you're dealing with, right? Because I've seen Ridge and we talked. We didn't even talk. It was like, hello, what's up? We play ball. See ya.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was the guy that I needed. Just an example. If I was mean to him or whatever, he may not help me, right? So it just comes to show like any relationship you may have with anyone, you may need that person down the line, even if you don't see or know how.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thankful because I generally have a pretty good relationship with everyone that I know. So I had many people actually give me sketches, right? They asked me what I wanted to do. And so I had like 10, 15. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so some sketches are really good, but Ridge worked for me best.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe we'll have a way like to show the logo like on the videos, but essentially, um, let me see. I'll show it here because
I could
people,
try and just put it right
yeah,
here,
Yeah.
but we'll see what happens.
we'll see what I have. I have a shirt here. Okay.
Okay.
So one thing that people don't realize, is it coming out backwards?
No, you're
No,
good.
no,
Oh,
no, it's
good,
all
good,
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 bro.
good. People don't realize that when you say JKT, these are dumbbells.
Wait, lift it up a little bit. Yeah, there you
Sorry,
go. Now you're good.
these are dumbbells.
Oh,
Mm.
This is
Oh
a dumbbell.
shit.
Yeah. So people don't really realize that. Hold on. Let me just adjust it a bit here.
There
And
we
that's
go.
one thing I loved about Ridge was that this is one dumbbell.
Yeah.
And then you got the JKT, right? For the John KT stuff. But obviously, overshadow with the looking like a sunset, it's a basketball, right? So all day I'm lifting, at night doesn't matter, right? So like I wanted to just get that idea. I was gonna
Mhm.
put like little flares, but I'm like, no, that's not. That's not the move. That's not the move. Looking like the Phoenix Suns of '05.
yeah, yeah, I was about to say.
But yeah, I feel like that was perfect because it was well hit. It's a hidden message. You have to look and be like, oh, I see, and that's what I wanted. But I got some good one. But Ridge was the best. He worked with me. It was perfect with what I needed. It was simple and yet it's hit. And not only do I think it looks good, but I've had like like you said, Raymond, like and what Shane is saying, people have been like, man, it looks proper. Even those that don't play basketball wanted it.
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah,
So what me and Rich did is like, okay, I want to focus also towards those that don't play. So I actually have two logos. The second one's I'll show it later on
hmm
through a different set of merch. But I had a different logo that's isolated towards those that just mostly do fitness and work out that don't really play basketball,
Mhm.
right? And then yes, he's helped me with that too. So that's a bit of a surprise people don't know about. So I'm saying it right here.
For
So
exclusive
yeah,
take,
oh,
exclusive
exclusive
man,
take.
take right here.
You heard it here
yeah, man.
first.
No, I'm trying to
Yeah.
hop on that one. Trying to hop
So
on that merch
you
still.
guys will definitely. What I'll do is I'll send it to you guys.
Yeah.
You guys will be one of the first. Well, you will
Oh
be the first
shit.
actually to have it. So
Yeah, appreciate it.
as
Appreciate it.
a
Much
as a
love,
thank
brother.
you for
Much love.
having me on.
Appreciate you, man.
Bro.
So yeah, no, honestly, it's been like that, and the results has been amazing, and people have purchased it, and it's helping me because what that money does is it allows me to then get more materials and allows me to get more basketballs. I'm prepping for when the gyms open up
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
when gyms open up, I want to be that guy when we have training, I have the extra basketballs, I have the cones, I have the pads, I have everything. All you need to do is make sure that you have your shoes. Because I hate
Yep.
it when
Yeah.
I go to the gym and I have to bring a bigger bag for my basketball, and then
Yeah.
I'm scared that I'm gonna lose my basketball because someone will steal it.
Oh man, I
So,
hate those ones.
so what I do is, if you want to train, no problem. You just come. I have everything, right?
Mm.
And then
hmm
afterwards, you go. You know what I mean? You don't have anything to worry about, but that costs, right? So, that's where all this money is going towards. It's just to help the brand grow even more. So any purchase of it goes a long way for me. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. No, it looks dope, bro. I was looking at it too. I didn't even see the JKT. I thought it was like in Japanese for like 2 seconds because like the thing right because the line right in the middle of the three letters looks separate, and I was like, yeah, Japanese on it, bro. Oh my god, man. Um, but going away from the local and what we were talking about prior, with the mental fitness and the spiritual fitness. What were your thoughts? Because the players this season had to end up in the bubble, right? And
Hmm.
a lot of the controversy behind it was a lot of the players, coaches, staff, whatever and whatnot. They were complaining about, it sucks, right? We're
Mhm.
we're we're sad, we hate it here kind of thing. And what are your thoughts on that? Because a lot of the people on social media said, "Dude, just play, right? You're at
Yeah.
Disneyland, you got food service and all that crap. It's just like just play, bro. Just do it, right? You just have a game every other day, just like before, but you're just at
Hmm.
one place. Like, what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah, I think that's a gross misunderstanding and thinking that money solves everything.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys have family back home or if you guys just are all in Canada, but I have family back in Congo. So I know the living conditions there is not as good as here. So to them, I'm pretty rich. But we know, like, yeah, then there's levels to their statuses here, right?
Yeah.
That's why we got different classes.
Yeah.
But to someone that's in Congo right now, to them it's like, what do you have to complain about? You have all the food you need, you have education, you got electricity doesn't cut out whenever it sees fit. When it's cold, you have the clothes, you have the ability to go exercise. What are you complaining about?
Yeah.
But
hmm
the problems that we face here are problems that they would appreciate to have. So, and then when people say, well, you're a millionaire, what are you complaining about? You're in Disney. It's like, but just because he has money doesn't mean that he's not a human being. He gets
Yeah.
lonely too, right? Right?
Yeah.
There's that person where they're so used to being around people. Now you're isolating them. To them, that's like jail, you
Mhm.
know? So I think it's an argument made out of ignorance for the most part. But it just kind of shows as well, like many people don't know what to do once they are in an isolated situation,
Yeah.
and that's pretty sad. I wish that people had a better experience at the bubble. I wish I was at the bubble, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but it depends, right? Like it just shows the guys are either on the phones all the time, maybe not as much reading, and you're not around your boys anymore. You can't have anyone over. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, you feel like you're in jail, even though
Yeah.
you're in Disney World. So I can understand both sides because I hear from back home about the living conditions of here, but I know it's not perfect. Therefore,
Yeah.
from here, comparing to an NBA player, he may have millions, but you know what? If it's someone that's used to being around his friends and family and now he's by himself for I don't know how long, shoot. And you've got to play a game, and it's just a game
Yeah.
after
That just
48 minutes.
next. Yeah. Yeah.
What do
Exactly.
you do after that? You just go back
Uh,
to your own room again by yourself.
And and the thing is too, I mean, there were pictures of the players, going to their rooms, what they're doing off the bus. Like some of the players had like their monitors, their PlayStations, and everything all coming through into the bubble and all that too. And I mean, that kind of compares to like whatever was happening, in March, when the pandemic began, um, over here, right? Because a lot of us, we didn't end up going to work. We ended up
Hmm.
just kind of just staying home, finishing out the school year. And of course, the first couple weeks of being at home, just eating, playing on the PlayStation, just talking to your friends and all that, it was great, man. Don't get me wrong for the first couple weeks, but then I don't know, the games just don't play the same. The conversations you have with your friends kind of just become stale,
Yeah,
right? And what there's you kind of lose another part of yourself, and that could be probably happening to those NBA players there, right?
absolutely. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a shame, right? Because it is, you don't think it's hard to think at it from their perspective. I can't lie, it is tough, to like, but at the end of the day, man, you still have what you want. But it's like, do they really? Because you got to remember, to them, they're used to having that money.
Yeah.
It's not they're not crazy. They don't look like me. If I had that money, I would check my bank account like every 5 minutes to make sure it's still there.
Yeah. I think like when I remember when Kat got interviewed and he said, when that first direct deposit went right into his bank account, man, he has to keep double checking just in case it was
Yeah,
correct.
but once you get over that, it's like for you, you're just a regular dude. You just, you know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
I do understand it to some degree, and I get the frustration when someone says, "Oh, you're an NBA player," but it's like, come on, man. Like, if you were in that position, man, you would get bored too,
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
it's human. We were social beings.
Yep.
You can only be alone
Mhm.
for so long.
Right. And it's like to kind of think of it as well. Like these are grown men, with
Hmm.
families, with and everything. Like we're not talking about like 22 AAU teams full of 18, 19-year-old kids that are they're gonna kind of like have parties every night or whatever and
Yeah,
play manhunt in Disneyland. I don't know, but like it's it's not the same, right? These guys are gonna stay in their room, right? They're gonna what are they gonna really do, right? Nothing, unfortunately,
hmm,
right? And it sucks. It sucks. It sucks how some people, like you just said, they don't look at these NBA players as human beings, like
no.
just machines that go and go and go and go, right?
Yeah,
And
what do you
that's
have to worry
very
about?
very
Just
unfortunate.
just play basketball.
Yeah,
It
just
solves all the problem in
play,
the
Exactly.
world.
right? Just do it. Just do it. Just let finish off the season, man. And no, let's. But going away from that topic, like, so who was your team going into the bubble and into the playoffs, or who's your team
Hmm.
in general, like in the NBA, man?
Yeah, I'm a Raptor fan.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
That's
I,
good to
I
hear.
Yeah, I the very first NBA game I ever saw were the Detroit Pistons and Los Angeles Lakers in 2004.
Oh
I
shit.
remember that game going on, and I'm like, man, because I came in Canada in 2001,
Hmm.
Mhm.
so I actually heard about basketball for the first time in 2002. I used to see
Wow.
magazines of the Lakers on SI from school, but I never really followed it.
Hmm.
I
Mhm.
remember 2004, the TV happens to be on. I remember seeing Richard Hamilton, Rip Hamilton. I remember seeing the Mailman, Gary Payton, and I'm like, man, they're tall. And
Yeah.
then and I wasn't really interested. The very first Raptor game I ever saw was the Raptors against Houston Rockets, and I remember they were wearing their red jerseys, and they had Lauren Woods as their center. He wore number 3.
Oh
Oh,
my
Remember?
god.
it's
This
so
unlocked a whole
it's so
memory.
funny because your first game you were treated to like probably some of the best basketball, right? You had that was like the Rip Hamilton, Billups, Prince, both
Yeah,
Wallaces, and then that was the Lakers that were trying to get the three-peat,
Yeah.
yeah,
right? So they ended up Gary Payton, Mailman, Ring Chase, and that was with Kobe, Rick Fox, Robert Horry, and Shaq, man.
Yep.
And that's a great game to start off with, like just in general. But then your first Raptor game, remembering with starting center Lorian Woods is, geez.
Pretty big drop
But
off.
yeah, bro.
that's fat.
So I'm assuming like you were when watching the playoffs. I mean, you're also like just cheering for the Raptors mainly, right?
Yeah, just a Raptor fan. I honestly didn't even once the Raptors got like I'm it's weird over the last few years because I got so much into the training. The way in which I watch basketball is different. Like before I just watched it. Now I
Mm-hmm.
watched it and I study it. But when the Raptors are like the only team I will watch like just as a fan. And then once they got eliminated, I watched, but it was mostly to take notes, which is weird. I never saw myself taking notes of a basketball game. But I'm like I don't know. I'm the worst person to watch a basketball game with because I'm the type that will want to watch it after. So say the game is at 7, I want to
Mm-hmm.
watch the game at 9 because that allows me to skip commercials, to pause and rewind a particular play.
Hmm.
So I'm not the most fun person to watch because if I see something I'm like, wait, how did they do that? How did they do that? So
Yeah.
I'll rewind, take notes, or record it on my phone, and I'm like, yo, we gotta train on this, right? So once the Raptors got out, that's all I did. So I didn't really care anymore, so long as the Clippers didn't win it, because Kawhi,
Exactly. Exactly.
that was fine. So I was watching it mostly just to study at that point.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's about it.
Was there
No,
anything
that's
that
so fun. I
you?
could.
My bad. Go
No,
ahead.
I sorry. I could just picture him like when Miami. We were talking like in the other pods where Miami switching their 3-2 zone, right? And the next thing you know they have the one cup. I could picture him just like 3-2, and then 2-3, 2-3-2, 2-3. So put like
That's
write that down. Write that down.
what's interesting. Like so, I'm that guy. I take things to a T. And we were doing a pickup game last night, 5-on-5. Okay, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know half these guys except for my guys.
Hmm.
There's 5 of us that I know, and the rest are just random that wanted to play.
Yeah.
We're playing, and like, we were losing at one point, and I'm like, yo, these guys can't shoot. So I'm like, yo, let's play 2-3 zone. Just see the reaction. So my guys knew what it was. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to see the reaction of other players and even the guys that had necks. And it felt like I was speaking a foreign language. But and I mean, I remember a guy laughing at me. But it's like when we did it, I'm like, people don't know what a 2-3 zone is. And these guys kept shooting. They
Yeah.
didn't know that was part of the plan,
Yep.
even though they can't shoot. And we came back and won. And afterwards, the guy on the other team is like, hey man, how come you guys left us? And I explained. But it's like that mattered because when I was watching NBA Finals, everyone else is just watching the game, and you hear the commentators, oh, the Miami, they're really good because of their zone. No, Miami Heat are. It's the reason why it works is because the team's not able to knock down shots, but I'm able to address that because I'm watching to study, whereas everyone else is just watching to see if LeBron's going to win another championship. So the mentality is different. But yeah, to be honest, if you ever watch a ball game together, it's better to watch it like at an actual stadium.
Yeah.
Because on
Yeah.
TV, I'm not the guy to watch ball with, man. You guys will be mad. You'll hate me.
Now, Shane, sorry, what were you saying, bro?
So
My
I was
bad.
actually just gonna lead into exactly what John just said. I was gonna ask, was there anything specific, maybe during the NBA Finals that you were able to pick up on? Maybe obviously, I guess besides the 2-3 zone, but was there anything in specific, any plays or any certain movements you saw that
hmm
really stood out to you?
I love the way the Miami he used Duncan
Yeah,
Robinson, sorry, because I want Matt Thomas to be used in the same way
yeah,
as a Raptor fan.
exactly, exactly.
So, but I've seen the difference is that Matt doesn't have the height
Hmm.
where Duncan. I don't know how tall Duncan is. He seems like he's 6'7",
He's 6'8",
Yeah.
6'8", I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, whereas Matt Thomas is like 6'3", 6'4".
yeah, 6'4" is
Mm-hmm.
pushing
Yeah, yeah, he's a pretty short dude
it.
still. But I'm like, man, I love how active he is. And we run like I think we run two plays for Matt Thomas, and it's so frustrating because he's only going to be on the court for like 5 minutes, and he touches the ball like 3 times. And I don't know what it is about him. He'll run the one play where he's in the corner, and then they have like someone, I forget who it is generally, but they'll run like a he runs to top of the key as he makes away by the 45. Someone sets the screen,
Hmm.
he gets a ball coming top of the key, shoots it.
Yeah.
That's like the only play we have for him.
Yeah.
And then for Duncan Robinson, he'll do
Yeah,
that. It
yeah,
doesn't work. He goes back in the paint. They run another pin down for him to come up. And I'm like, but why don't we do that more? So watching Duncan Robinson
yeah,
is really fun because it makes me like, oh man, if only Matt could do this.
Yeah.
Because I think Matt Thomas is better shooter. Like I
Oh,
mean,
I
I'm a bit,
believe you
I might be
100%.
a bit biased, but I'm like, but we don't give Matt the freedom
Hmm.
because of his
yeah, bro.
defense. I understand, you know what I mean. But it's like, come on, Duncan is not out here and locking anybody up either. But and he gets hidden because of the zone.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he gets a bit more leeway. But I just it made me really appreciate having Matt, but I also wish that we would use him more.
Yeah,
So I'm hopefully next year Nick can trust him a bit more as well. So that's what
yeah.
I that it made me really like being excited
Hmm.
for next season whenever that
And the
comes
thing
up.
is with Duncan Robinson too, right? He's not always catch and shooting, right? He has set plays for him where he's a ball handler and gets into a high pick and roll with Bam, bro. And it's the way that they run it. They run it to like an amazing efficiency where it's either he's open for a three or Bam is wide open in that paint, and
I
he's just
think you're
gonna.
confusing him with Tyler Hero.
No, bro, no,
Are
no.
you
Like
sure?
Duncan Robinson has some plays with Bam where he goes into a handoff with Bam at a bio,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah.
and he's able to dribble it really well. And I think you know what it's. I feel like you know what you're probably right to Tyler. You're probably seeing Tyler Harrow do it way more than Duncan
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
way
Robinson, man.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's just like both of those guys, like the fact that they could create their shots for themselves,
Hmm.
insane, insane.
I think Tyler Hero is gonna be insane. He because he basically plays like backup point guard. Like
Yeah.
he just plays guard. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
There's no position for him. And but the thing I like about Duncan Robinson is like one thing that I watch with his form is that he keeps his form. Like that's one thing even myself
yeah,
I try to like study. Like I'm like, bro, I gotta do this. I know. Remember the one play where he got fouled? I don't know if it was Kyle Kuzma. He pump fake. Kyle jumped into him, and then he shot it and hit the three. And I mean, obviously, I watched that in slow motion. I watched the way he kept his guide hand, and I'm like, that is amazing. So I would probably mess that up,
Hmm.
right? But he's such a professional shooter where, like, I mean, all NBA guys do this anyway, but it's so good to be able to just have that ability to just watch that and like go outside and be like, okay, I need to keep my form no matter what. You can jump into me as long as I keep my form, I put myself in the best position possible to make that shot,
Hmm.
right?
yeah, man.
So no, Miami uses him so well. Like it makes me so
Yeah, bro.
jealous. I'm like, man, we have a Matt Thomas, bro. We gotta release him,
Uh,
coach.
Yeah,
and I think the thing
yeah,
is for Matt, next year, I think he's actually gonna be able to take that step because
I
realistically,
hope so.
with the roster moves that we're gonna have to make this summer, we're not gonna be able to
Hmm.
bring back all of our key players, right?
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
means, I mean, it'll be bad, but it'll be good because it'll give more opportunities to Matt, right?
No,
I
it's
absolutely.
a slight rebuild, slight
Yeah,
refining. It's a
exactly. It's not a
refine. It's not a
rebuild, it's a
rebuild.
refine.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
Yeah,
that's
refine.
because
exactly what it is.
aren't we waiting for 2021? Most like, we're waiting for the end of next season, right?
We're
Not
waiting
this.
for the next
Yeah,
off
yeah,
season. The
yeah.
next off season.
AKA
That's gonna
Mr.
be
Giannis.
that's the
Giannis,
Giannis
yeah.
off season. Yes, yes.
I hope
Um.
I hope we get him still. I don't like
I
Giannis, but if he wears a Raptor jersey, I'll be the biggest
Oh,
Giannis fan.
Oh Jesus Christ!
100%,
Yeah, like
man.
a lot of people are gonna say, he's not gonna fit in the offense. It's gonna be terrible. Blah 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 blah. blah. The spacing's gonna be off. Nah, when he gets off to
We'll figure
Toronto,
it out.
everyone, yeah,
We'll
we'll
figure it
we'll
out.
figure
Exactly.
it out.
Just put him in a Raptor jersey. We'll figure everything
He's
else.
one of the players you could put on any team and it'll work.
Yeah,
And
Bro.
yeah.
that's maybe like four
Well,
or five in the whole league.
just not yet,
Well,
unfortunately. It
no,
just
think
just
about it.
hasn't
Think
worked.
about it. Think about
Yeah,
it. What team can you
Uh,
put him on that it's not going to work?
I
Maybe
want to say is
Philadelphia, but like,
it hasn't worked yet for his team just yet.
yeah.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
I would say, I would argue that the reason why it hasn't worked is because his support doesn't play up to the postseason. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
Chris Middletons will have the decent 1-2 game in the playoffs, but
Hmm.
other than that, he does the DeMar DeRozan, right? He
You're
disappears.
asking too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he disappears. Eric Bledsoe has become basically useless, right? So it's just one of those things where Giannis, he's being guarded by an entire team because they just build a wall in
E-
transition.
exactly.
So Giannis will give you a nice 25 to 30, and then everyone else you just hope for the best.
Hmm.
But I think where the Raptors, for example, one of the leading teams in the regular season in transition scoring, we didn't do in the postseason. What killed us, but having a Giannis that takes us up even another level. And he opens up the floor because yes, you have to pack the paint, but then if guys like Terrence Davis can develop a consistent shot, you can only pack the paint so much because he's gonna kick it out to a Terrence Davis, to
Hmm.
a Matt Thomas when he's on the court. So Giannis opens up, and a Pascal if he ever remembers to play basketball again. That I think that 1-2 combo can go a long way. So
Oh,
I think that can go a long way.
It's tough.
But
damn.
Honestly, it's so tough. It's so tough. I don't know the way Pascal played in that Boston series,
I'm
man,
still
was
mad
just
about it,
it was
man.
very very.
It
Did
hurts.
you do a lot of replaying and rewinding and all
Not
that
with
stuff,
him.
man?
Not with
No,
not with
I
him. Nah.
I think you should go back just to look on like I don't know, man. It just looked so. I, I don't know. It looks so bad. It just like it looked like watching the one dude on your team carry your whole
All
team.
right.
Like
Okay. No. 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 Listen. Listen. I can't let you slander my boy Pascal
dude,
anymore. Listen.
dude.
Listen. Listen.
No,
Listen.
no,
Wait.
but
Hold
like
on.
he
Hear me
kept
out though.
doing
Hear
the
me out though.
same move,
Hear me
man.
out though. He's still a young up and coming player, right?
Of
Oh
course,
Right.
yeah.
of course.
And one thing I have to make sure, no matter like, we can't slander him too much,
No,
right?
no,
Absolutely.
don't
Yeah.
get me
We
wrong.
can't because if we do that, we're gonna do the same thing that we did to Andrea Bargnani, right?
Yeah, no. Oh,
Obviously,
okay,
he's a
okay.
different level of
No, no.
player, but hear me out though. Hear me out though. When we had Andrea, he didn't live up to the expectations, and the entire city was on his ass, right?
Because
So now
okay, but this is the reason
mentally, if
why
you
though.
think about it, right, mentally, having millions of people constantly in your ear as a young player,
Yeah, it's
it's
pretty
gonna
bad.
derail you, right?
I
Yeah.
know, but like first pick,
Hmm.
first round,
Yeah,
first pick. Oh, wait, first round, 28th pick
yeah.
or
I
20
mean,
something pick.
I see what you're
So
saying, but at the end
so
of the day,
I'm cutting Siakam slack,
yeah,
but that doesn't remove the same fact that he just didn't show up in
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
series in
yeah.
particular, bro. Because it's just like he's like I said, he's doing the same move. Maybe this off season is going to end up developing something that we don't know.
Hmm.
And I personally he's going to have the way better skills than Andrea
Oh
Bargnani
yeah,
did
yeah,
in his
100%.
in his first 5 years here. No matter if he scored 24 or 23 points a game, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, bro.
I think
What?
just to touch on that one point lastly, my
Yeah,
biggest
yeah.
issue with Pascal, I never have an issue with a guy missing, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I do think he shot a bit too many threes, but my biggest problem with him is that you're struggling offensively. He's so good. He can play defense.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing defense at all. It was actually, if you guys remember game 6 or game 7, I cannot remember. I'll have to go back on the tape on this one if I'm willing to be corrected. But I remember there's a couple times in which he was on Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum absolutely just blew by him. And obviously, like, it was almost like a
Yeah.
mismatch. And it was so bad. You know who Nick Nurse switched on Jason Tatum? Fred. Me. That
Yeah,
me.
yeah, and I think we're
That's
talking about that. It
yeah,
was
that's
nuts.
unacceptable. That's the thing that I had the biggest issue with. It's like, yo, you might turn the ball over, you're missing threes, you're missing layups. Okay, cool. But bro, the fact that you're becoming a liability on defense too,
Hmm.
where me basically it's like Nick saying, yo, John, go out there. I want you to stay in front of Jason Tatum because this guy can't do it. And that guy is your all-star. That was my biggest problem with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least play defense, rebound the ball. There's intangibles. There's so many guys that can be just as effective without scoring. And I think Pascal is that guy. And the fact that he wasn't doing it, that's what really frustrated me
Hmm.
because we still could have won in this whole thing, right? We still could
Oh
have
yeah,
won
for
if he
sure.
Yeah.
averaged 15 points on less turnovers and maybe 8 rebounds. He was averaging like 4 or 5 rebounds. And that's like I think off the top of my head. So that's my biggest problem with him. Not necessarily the lack of scoring, it's like the lack of everything else. Like
Yeah.
why were you even on the court at this point?
Hmm.
Yeah,
That big
yeah.
deal.
I
Yeah.
saw a
Oh,
report though that came out that I think it was Nick Nurse who said it that during the quarantine he didn't Pascal didn't really keep in shape. So
Yeah.
when he came back to the bubble, you could see it. He was a step slower. He didn't
He
have the same
was.
explosiveness. And I mean, like,
and that's
right?
yeah. We could always talk about that and everything, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day too. They are basketball players. I mean, yeah, they're gonna
Yeah,
get rusty. They're out of shape, but
yeah.
if
I'll
they
just
really
say
love
this,
the,
man. You
yeah.
know what? He was. Sorry to cut you off, Raymond.
No, 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 go for
Uh,
it.
I just that is true. Apparently, he didn't touch the basketball for a couple months. I don't know what, but you know what, man? Jason Tatum was also quarantining like you. Jalen Brown was quarantining like you,
Yep.
and yet they busted your ass. So I don't want to hear it. That's like when we come back and we come back to indoor gyms and guys are saying I didn't touch the basketball. I'm like, okay, but like that's your
Yeah,
problem. How
exactly.
you manage your time is not my problem.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Um, but we want to end off today. We want to talk about you more, John. And Shane, is there anything else you need to say to John, bro, or
Yeah.
like
So
that we need to close up or whatever, man?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was telling John this a little bit earlier, but I've seen like your brand, not from the beginning, but I've seen it from almost the beginning to where it is now, and I've seen the growth that you've had already, and it blows my mind. Like it's amazing. But I was just wondering, where do you see yourself going in the future with this? Like,
Hmm.
what do you hope happens? What do you see yourself doing to ensure that happens? And just talk about the future of your brand.
Yeah. First and foremost, man, thank you. Just because I mean, you and I know each other personally, just outside basketball, and like the growth happens because people trust what I do.
Hmm.
I don't believe I'm a guru, man. At the end of the day, man, I just love basketball.
Yeah.
But I think I can put myself in a position where, um, if you're a hooper, where you want to go somewhere, I will do anything I can to assist you get there, right? I do have connections too that people don't know about off the court, right? So when we talk off the record and stuff, that's the stuff that we can discuss. But it's like I know people, right? So I may not be in that position, but you having a relationship with me can help you because I know so and so who knows so and so who knows where you're trying to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So stuff like that matters. And ultimately my goal is I want to be the kind of trainer that when guys come with me, they leave out knowing that they're better players, they're better people, and the things that we work on can be applied in everyday life too.
Hmm.
So discipline, work ethic, and the way how serious you are with basketball is the same way you should be in the classroom. You should be serious about having a backup plan, whether you want to grow a business or not, and having mental fitness and spiritual fitness. Because even if basketball doesn't work out, you have the tools necessary to be a contributing member to society, right? So there's life is bigger than basketball is fun, but
Hmm.
there are more important things in life, you know. So basketball is not life, but basketball can change your life. So that's kind of like how I look at it. And I don't know where it's gonna be 3, 4, 5 years from now, but I just want to get better, keep growing, and hopefully to continuously meet people that will assist me to get there and to give glory to God while doing it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I see big things coming with the brand, man. So hopefully everything pans out. But I want to give you your time. If it's, is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything you want
Mhm.
to promote right now? Go ahead, man.
Mhm.
The floor is yours.
Do it. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to get a shirt, we'll put my Instagram up. Hit me
Hmm.
up. The website's currently under works. Once the website's up, it'll make things so much easier for me. But like all small businesses, you got to start somewhere. So right now,
Exactly, exactly.
um, anybody that's interested to get any shirts, or I have hoodies and I have sweatpants that are coming out on my next batch.
Hmm.
Honestly, send me a DM. I have a spreadsheet that I record everything and I send the orders through and it comes through and then I give you your shirt. It's really that simple. Until the website comes out, that's how things are being done.
Hmm.
The good thing with it is I've learned how to do spreadsheet. Shout out to Excel. I wish school taught me this. This is for you, Miss Frost. If you're watching, I never needed your class. You know, talking about we don't do spreadsheets. Yeah, we do, because I'm doing spreadsheets now, right? So I'm thankful because I didn't. It's embarrassing to say I did not do spreadsheets until 2 months ago.
Oh wow.
I
Oh,
really didn't,
jeez.
and I've had to learn. I went on a how to, and I got a friend that who's actually there. So now I know.
Hmm.
But this is what it took. I could have learned this in high school as opposed to stupid things they teach you in school.
Yeah,
They could have
honestly,
taught me
man.
this.
Yeah,
But
Honestly.
bro.
yeah, this is what we're doing right now. So
And we'll
yeah,
have your Instagram, your contact, whatever. We'll have it in the description for you,
yeah,
man.
Yep.
Gonna keep posting you and everything. I'll post your Instagram page on my page, the pod's page, whatever, whatnot. We'll help you out, bro. And that's what it is at the end of the day. People helping people, right?
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm very thankful for this opportunity. Like I was telling Shane too, like um, definitely gonna spread the word. You guys give me a platform, so what I like to do is obviously give back as a way of thankfulness as well,
Appreciate you,
so
man.
people can know what you guys are doing. I saw the first video actually. That's how me and Shane got to talking because I saw it through your YouTube and I subscribed. So I'm gonna make sure that that word is spread, and that way you guys can also keep growing, man. You know what I mean? That's what this is. This is good. I really love this, and I usually only see this being done in the U.S. and the GTA. I don't see much of it in Durham. So you guys are like one of the first.
Hey,
Yeah.
man. But we're trying to do something a little bit here and
Something,
there.
yeah.
There's always room for wholesome content at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely,
that's what it is, bro. So no, we
Mhm.
all, we want to thank you for coming, man.
Really appreciate it, man.
Big shout out to Shane, bro. Shane is the one who linked you, bro. And hopefully in the future we'll meet. We'll play some
absolutely.
basketball. We maybe have another interview to see all your updates and everything, bro. But
Mm-hmm.
For
thank you for
sure.
coming, bro. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it,
you
John.
guys.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
John.
God bless you.
All right, bro. Take it easy, guys. Thank you for watching the
Deuces.
podcast. Subscribe, like, easy.
Easy.